by the way, I'm not the spokesperson, I'm just an analyst. They decided not to respond directly because probably there's a difference between the Rwandan army and the Congolese army. What is the difference? The difference is that the Rwandan army is more professional and more disciplined than the Congolese army. Congolese army, they are not disciplined and they are not professional. We all know. So because of that, probably Rwandan army realized, okay, these bullets have come to our territory, but they have not injured anyone. But this is aggression. This is provocation. Then there was also a situation of trying to understand, are these bullets being fired by the entire battalion in Congo, or are they just being fired by one drunken man?
I'm hoping you've been enjoying the mixes and the mingles during the week as we took some rest for some of us to bring you the best of the quality here on UKWELI Times. Welcome to UKWELI Times, and the show is on the spot with me, Bright Niyonzima Bashir. They call me TR White in this business, and I am always here to host and bring to you what were the transpirations of the news in this week across the region, across the continent, and the entire globe. And I'm always here with the amazing Innocent Haumujisha to discuss issues that made headlines in the week. On the Spot is the show. Just call on to everybody, share that link, or even subscribe to UKWELI Times to make sure that we continue doing this as you like and comment in the section below, that we may get to understand what you think about our content, but also what would you want us to do. You can also give us your ideas on the places you would want us to talk about, especially not limited to politics, leadership, and security statuses of the nation. Even when you want us to visit your country, talk about the politics in the nation, even the finances, we are yet to discuss. Remember, it's been a week of amazing things here in Rwanda. We saw military drills at the airport for terror preparedness. We saw bullets flying from the Congo side. Was it an attack or not yet? We saw generals and top army chiefs meet the president to discuss the status of Rwanda's next 5-year term, the security currently, and we also saw some being fired. It's a topic to discuss, but welcome with me, Haumujisha Innocent, on the show.
Thank you, Mr. Bashir.
Yes.
Thank you for welcoming me back on the UKWELI Times to come and analyze the current hot topics that are happening in Rwanda and in the region at large.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting enough is what I began the show with, talking about the drills, the military drills, the bullets flying, and the president meeting and firing some of the top army chiefs. What is the current status, security-wise, of Rwanda? Innocent.
Thank you so much, Bright. The current status of security in Rwanda, it's normal. There's nothing that has really changed, or nothing that is fishy, nothing that is different from what we have been experiencing. We still have, much as I'm concerned, 100% security. Yes, Rwanda is 100% safe. Because the one incident of few bullets that were fired on the Rwandan territory by a Congolese soldier does not mean that there's a security crisis in Rwanda.
I would want us and the viewers to understand, is it a coincidence that oftentimes the Congo president, the Congolese leaders have often said and threatened to attack Rwanda, then we see an incident of where a soldier is firing bullets on Rwandan territory?
I don't think there's a relation between the statement of the president of Republic of Congo, Antoine Tshisekedi, and the soldier who fired those bullets. Though I don't know the intentions of the soldier who tried to fire the bullets, but much as I'm concerned, the intentions of that soldier were not to attack Rwanda. Probably that soldier, I can easily say, he has two problems that can be connected to one. I can say maybe he has a psychological problem. So that psychological problem that can be aggravated by maybe drunkenness. You know, these Congolese soldiers, most of them have no discipline. The Congolese army is not a disciplined army. So they drink a lot. It's not the first time we are seeing a Congolese soldier coming to Rwandan territory. I think one died a few months ago. There's one who died. A few months ago, there's one who was captured and he was handed back to his country. I think you know that. So one of them, again, firing a number of bullets on the Rwandan territory has nothing to do with the president's statement, because that is individual responsibility. I don't think that can be blamed on Congolese soldiers, on Congolese army, because he was not ordered by his superiors. You know, in army there is what we call
the chain of command.
Chain of command, or command responsibility and command. So you are ordered by your commander to say fire in Rwanda. So once you are ordered and once you are ordered and you have to fire. So in that case, I don't believe that that man was ordered to fire the bullets in Rwanda. But instead, what he did was that probably he took it responsible to fire the bullets in Rwanda. When a soldier on his own decides to get a gun, probably he had a gun, maybe he was on duty, because you know Congo, we have Goma on the Congo side, it's a big town. On the other side we have Rwanda, we have Rubavu, that's also a town in Rwanda. The two towns actually, they are like sister towns, they have borders. So because they are sister towns, you can, when you are in Rubavu, for those who have not been there, you're able to see Goma across there, just there. So maybe he was on duty, trying to man the borders. Then he decides to drink beer and decides to shoot in Rwanda. I don't think that the Congolese army are responsible of that shooting. So what do we expect from the Congolese army?
Before we go to what we expect from the Congolese army then, my question would be, you are trying to separate the soldier from the army, the chief in command, the army chief, the chief in command. The president is always the chief,
yes,
the chief in command, right? You are trying to separate them. What someone would want to think, what is the possibility that oftentimes, because he has referred to these attacks onto Rwanda, he hasn't sowed seed into these soldiers to start thinking, perhaps, that even though it was triggered by maybe the drinking of beer, like you say, or maybe circumstances, how then can we be sure that this soldier actually didn't take serious what the chief in command has always been saying?
The first thing is that, you see, when you are a chief in command, that is in reality, you cannot, you want to fire some bullets in Rwanda. One, when it's something that, because firing on the Rwandan territory, it's something that is planned. You understand? So I don't think that a chief in commander plans to fire the bullets on the Rwandan territory and he just decided to use a small gun. If they wanted to fire from the command, they should have used more than one soldier. They should have used different guns, probably even bigger guns. So that shows that using a small gun, it was one soldier who was in custody of a small gun that he was given to protect his citizens or his territory. So he was on duty, basically he was on duty, mandated to him to take care of the security around that area. That's why he decided to shoot. If it was something that is planned, I repeat it, they should have used more guns and bigger guns.
Interesting way to look at it.
Yes.
Then my question then would be, if this was one soldier, how many more do you think could be thinking like this one, that it's just a matter of time and we start to see more incidences like this?
In fact, sometimes you see, we can even be talking like that when we know that the Congolese army is being infiltrated with FDLR. FDLR is a terrorist group. Some of its fighters have been integrated into the Congolese army. Probably you can even find the person who did that is from FDLR, but who has been integrated in Congolese army. That is also another possibility. So if you ask me that question, how many people might be thinking of doing that? That question, it's quite tricky to answer it, because they may be there, or they may be there who have that in mind, or they may not even be there. So let's presume that they are there. Those who are there, it comes now to criminal mind, where when you know a criminal, when he wants to commit a crime, it's something that you plan. That's why you talk about the three elements of a crime: legal, moral, and the material. So someone thinking of shooting on the Rwandan territory or firing bullets on the Rwandan territory, because he's not launching an attack, it's not a war, he's committing a crime, violation of domicile, or a crime of aggression in international law. So, or even it can even be a war crime because he kills civilians. So someone thinking of shooting on the Rwandan territory, it means one, he has a gun, that's a material. Having the idea of shooting, that is the moral element. Then legal element, there's those cases like war crimes or crimes against humanity, depending on who he's going to kill. Those, it comes up now as a criminal offense. So those trying to fire bullets on the Rwandan territory, those must be considered as criminals, not as rebels who are trying to attack Rwanda. Yes.
So then that would bring me to perhaps the question that could this be, or could have it been one other sign to dipstick the readiness of Rwanda to protect themselves if they were attacked?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because when it comes to military tactics, all the countries, their militaries have got their own tactics. Sometimes these tactics develop depending on which country they are trained from. Some of them are trained by Russians, others are trained by Americans, others are trained by Koreans, others are trained by Chinese. So those tactics a military has, or a country's army has, comes from the country that trained them. So trying to fire like that, few bullets, is not a sign that they can protect themselves once Rwanda invades Congo. And for sure.
No, I was saying, if a Congolese soldier maybe fired at Rwanda, Rwanda's response to this situation, could it itself be a dipstick to the Congo people to say that, oh, actually these people are prepared, or they are not prepared?
On that one, you cannot handle it like that, because I think the Rwandan soldiers decided, maybe even the Rwandan government, by the way, I'm not the spokesperson, I'm just an analyst, they decided not to respond directly, because probably there's a difference between the Rwandan army and the Congolese army. What is the difference? The difference is that the Rwandan army is more professional and more disciplined than the Congolese army. Congolese army, they are not disciplined and they are not professional. We all know. So because of that, probably Rwandan army realized, okay, these bullets have come to our territory, but they have not injured anyone. But this is aggression. This is provocation. Then there was also a situation of trying to understand, are these bullets being fired by the entire battalion in Congo, or are they just being fired by one drunken man? All those are analyzed. So after analyzing that, Rwanda keeps quiet, because it's not the first time that Congo provokes Rwanda. Rwanda keeps quiet to try and observe the situation. But Rwanda keeping quiet, for me, that one must worry the Congolese government and the Congolese army. This quietness must worry them, because they might hit them, and the hitting them will be bad. And I'm sure once Rwanda decides to hit, they cannot hit Goma. They'll hit Kinshasa. And I think Rwanda, as a responsible army, they look at the civilians, the Congolese civilians. That's why they cannot just respond to one person. Now it remains the responsibility of Congolese army to find that soldier discipline him, then through diplomacy, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, communicate with the Rwandan government, through the Minister of Home Affairs, what transpired and what measures, what sanctions they have taken against that one soldier who was drunk and provoked Rwanda. Yes.
Bringing us to a question of, did this have a reason for the president, who is the commander-in-chief of the Rwanda Defense Forces, His Excellency President Kagame, meeting with the top brass of the RDF, including firing some of his top men in army, men in service uniform? Let's take a short break, and when we return, Innocent and I give you the chorus. Welcome to yet another sport of On the Spot. Indeed, it is always hitting on the spot. Remember to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for when we upload new content here on UKWELI Times. My name is Bright Nyonzima Bajil, and I'm always called TR Bright in this business. And how much Innocent is here with us still to continue discussing what we call the status quo of security in Rwanda. A Congolese soldier has fired upon us. We have responded and we're waiting for the response in the diplomatic way. But the president meets the top brass of the RDF. What does that mean?
I think that one, there's nothing new. If you have been in Rwanda for maybe last 5 years, this is an annual activity. The president meets these people every year. Last year, he met them. 2022, he met them. 2021, it was the same thing. 2020, it was the same thing. And actually, it was been doing COVID. So these meetings have been there. Apart from meeting them, every time he meets them, if people follow current news, you will realize that every time after their meeting, the list of those being on retirement, fired, and what those issues comes in. Every year we have the activity of those Rwandan soldiers from Rwandan army going on retirement, depending on different reasons. Some of them go on retirement based on the age, as the law that governs the RDF stipulates there's age that they have to go. A good example is we have seen just last year in 2023, General James Kabarebe retired from active army. And he was actually, that time he was the advisor to the president on security. When he retired, he was appointed as the state minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in charge of regional affairs.
And he's doing good, eh?
Yes, and he's doing very good. And the other time we also had General Ibingira, Freddy Ibingira, and the group retiring. So every year,
and then he was
retire.
sent to Tanzania as ambassador.
No. The one who's in Tanzania is Patrick Nyamvumba. He's still active.
Yes.
Ibingira is around. Then this year we have, I'm trying to mention big figures so that people have seen on social media. People think that General Jean Bosco Kazura retirement comes with other fishy issues. I'm just trying to show you that every year there's a big name that goes into retirement. So this year we have Jean Bosco Kazura, who was the CDS, and then he has retired along with others. But on social media, people have criticized it, and they are trying to find different stories to come up to show that he was retired in the interest of an individual. In fact, back in the days, we also had General KK, Kalenzi Karakis, one of the senior men. He also went into retirement. So every year we have a senior man going into retirement because age is catching up with them. These people, some of them, they started the liberation war in 1990. So you can imagine it's 30 years down the line. So that means that those who went to the battlefront with 30 years, today they are 60. So, and in the army, I think retirement is 55, if I'm not mistaken. That's why most of them are reaching the retirement age. Yeah.
Oh, interesting indeed.
Yes.
Not only meeting the RDF brass and firing some of which we saw it was on disciplinary measures, disciplinary issues. Could you think that maybe this is to send a message to the junior officers or the people in the RDF who are still young people that, you know, this is an army that calls people to responsibility if there is any action taken? Should we say this is used as a tool to trench the young officers to keep in line, or should this be regarded as a way to also say that you are not big in this country, you are not bigger than the law?
On that one, I think firing people basing on their misconduct, basing on their discipline, I'll say it in three parts. Part one, it's one way of showing that no one is above the law. If you commit an offense or you misbehave, there's a law that is applicable. This is not a labor group. It's a military.
People's military.
People's military. That's one. Number two, it's also, as you have said it, to show those young ones that there's a law that you have to abide, that you have to avoid,
regardless of your rank,
that you have to avoid breaking, because when you break it, it will come for you. Number three is also to install discipline into the young ones, for them to believe that the law is applicable. It's there, it exists. So there's nothing new. When you look at Martin Zaramba, he was fired, but according to what the Rwanda Defense Forces RDF spokesperson, Brigadier General Ronald Rwivanga, said, he said he was fired because of misappropriation of funds meant to be used during trainings of soldiers who are doing their courses. So he misused the funds, and that led to the funds that are meant to be used for the well-being of the trainees. He misused it. So misusing it means that those soldiers were not taken care of properly. Their well-being was not okay because the money meant for them was misused by one individual. That is also a big signal to show that even those breaking the law, the law is applicable to them. I gave you an example because he was a general. So there's nothing like he's a general or he's a lieutenant. The law is applicable equally to them. Yes.
I always like the words used when some of the top government officials are taking an oath, that I swear when everyone is seeing, I'm translating, that I will not use this power given to me by this office to do or execute duties that only benefit me. And so, do we see the Constitution being given power even in the army? In terms of accountability,
exactly, because it is being given power because of such examples I've given you. Brigadier General Nzaramba is fired because of misappropriation of funds. So when you go to that statement what they use when they're swearing in, when they say, when I use the powers vested into me for personal interest or personal gains, I must be punished. This is what happened to him. Yes.
Interesting. One man goes outside the rails of accountability and is fired. But then, on the next day, we see firing simulations at the airport with the counter-terror squad from the RDF, the K9 unit from the police, the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, the Red Cross, preparing for a terror attack in simulations. What is that supposed to send? Do we suspect someone attacking our airport? Or is it another routine to make sure that all the people who use this airport are confident that Rwanda is prepared?
Let me answer that one in this way. First thing is that the airport is always protected. And carrying out such activities, trainings in public, there's something that means. Because if they want, they can do it in a private way and we can never know that they did it. So for me, carrying it in public it means that they are trying to build confidence to the users of the airport, because that is an international airport. We are seeing people flying in and flying out of the country using the same entry point, Kigali International Airport. So having that activity of training, it means that these people are actually showing to the world how they are prepared to rescue them, protect them in case of an attack. Because these attacks that we usually see around the world, they are usually not informed that they'll take place. They come as a surprise, something that it just breaks. No, a bomb blasted at this airport. So that is a sign to show the passengers that this airport is ready, and the staff, they are ready and prepared to do the rescue mission or even the protection. That's why you saw they came from different institutions. There was Army,
The
counterterrorism unit. Those are the ones who can fight those people might be having a gun. We had the Red Cross. The Red Cross, maybe they are there to rescue the victims, those who have been injured.
They are first responders too.
The first aid respondents. Then we had the RIB. You know, RIB, they are there probably to start the investigations and prosecuting those perpetrators. Then we had the Rwanda Canine Brigade. Those dogs are trained in different ways to identify bombs, to identify marijuana and all those issues. They can also come there to identify where has this enemy come from. They can even identify if there's another one hiding. They can even identify if there's a bomb that has been planted somewhere. Maybe that's why those dogs are also brought in. So looking at the entire team that was there, that we saw on the TV, that entire team is a composition of the team that can come and rescue the situation in case it goes bad. Yes.
Interesting that Rwanda continues to be the epitome of good examples to the world, especially when it comes to security. Another visitor came from all the way from another country of Africa, and he was the police chief. He was in the country to meet the police chief here, who exchanged global amenities. That is the state of Rwanda's security, continuing to grow stronger and stronger by the day, and giving examples with the willingness to keep with the Pan-African way of fighting crime and protecting the sovereignty of the land 250. My name is Bright Niyo TR. Bright is my name in the business, and I'm always here with Innocent Haumujisha to discuss the topics that brought the pick up in the week. For now, adios.